Good morning, everybody. Just do a sound check, mic check, and hopefully you can all hear me good. Everything should be fine when it comes. I hope I set it up correctly this time. And if there are any issues, let me check. I'm going to check here, see if. Nope, for some reason. Are you guys hearing me? Okay, so I got a mic check and everything's good. So I decided to do this after I should have done it last week, but I've been so busy at work. And I decided to do it on Sunday. It's my day off today, and well, actually not. I've been working most of the day, but my day off in the evening at least. And I wanted to do a fundraiser for the Philippines. I'm gonna do matching up to $500. So the way you can match is like if you do 50 or above to any of the organizations in the description, or if you have another organization that's well recognized, that's fine. Also, a good way to do donations is if you know people in a church, local church in the areas that have been had destructions. That goes more direct to the people, and it's also a lot quicker to get to the people there. The food right now, they're in dire strait when it comes to food and water, so they need people on the ground getting them that, and there have been some really good churches doing that kind of work. So anyway, either way, give what you can. And so the way you get a matching is just shoot me an email with a screenshot of what you've sent, and I will do matching up to $500. So not per match, but total for me up to 500. So if you send me something and I wasn't able to match it, it means I basically ran out of the funds I put aside for this. So, the Philippines has been under pretty bad duress the last few years. They first had the corona, and it's been closed down, and it's really affected people negatively. Um, People from hotels have been unemployed, taxi drivers, their incomes have gone way down, trike drivers, restaurant owners, and so on. So it's affected the whole of society, and it's been very negative on the Filipino society. And then they were supposed to open up in December, as you know, but then Omni hit us, even though it's nothing. But they decided to keep it closed for a while longer. And then, of course, this typhoon hit, and it's been devastating, both economically, physically, mentally. So I want to have this livecast, and I'm supposed to have some people joining me. Paul Old Dog is supposed to join me. Reekay's Beyond the Sea is supposed to join me. Filipina Life with Mia is actually supposed to join me too. And did I forget anybody? I think that was it. So with that, let's get going. I don't know if you guys have been watching YouTube. I don't think it's been so much in the news. I don't really follow the news here in the US anymore. But it's been all over YouTube if you're kind of interested in the Philippines. So, the devastation is pretty horrific. And of course, anybody who's lived in the Philippines knows that the infrastructure in the Philippines is already bad. The electric lines are usually on wooden poles. The electric lines look like a bunch of spaghetti. So, when it goes down, it takes much longer to fix. They don't really have the funds the way they should have, and they don't have the backup people to do quick work. I mean, they do the work, but it takes time. So, like some places in Cebu, they've been told 2 to 3 months before they get electric. People are still struggling to get fresh water. People are still struggling to get gas. Now, not all parts of the Philippines has been affected. Only parts of the Philippines, and the parts I know about are Cebu and Negros, since I've lived on both those islands. I'm sure there are other parts that have been severely affected. I heard someone talk about Palawan, but I'm not sure. So anyway, I don't want this to be about me. So no questions about me. I want this to be about the Philippines, and I want this to be about how we can help. So if you have ideas about helping, other things besides raising funds, other ways of helping, let me know, and we'll talk about it here. So the first thing here, someone says, why is the donate button not working? Because I have disabled it, because I do not want people sending me super chats. If you were thinking of sending me a super chat, send that to one of the uh, organizations in the description, and like I said, I will match your donation, so up to $500. Let's see. Okay, good morning, everybody, or good night, or good afternoon. So Mike says, hi, everyone. Let's be generous for the Filipinos. Completely agree. They are in need, and anybody who's lived in the Philippines knows that the Filipinos are really great people. And sometimes I need a bit of help. So this is one of those times where people need help. And I really, really hope some of you all will come through and make a donation. So, yeah. Sorry, I got to get this. So, yeah. Let's see. So, good sound. Yep. Guys, you hear me loud and clear. That's good. It is the holiday season. Thank you, Eugene, for reminding us on that. It is the holiday season. So that's the season to give and not take, but to give as much as possible. So again, I wish people will contribute. And hey, if you are pledging, put something in the all caps. I pledged, $50 to the Red Cross, or I've pledged $25 or this or that. So anyway, that's what I'd like to do. If you do that, and then I will, once you send me like a screenshot of something that you've sent the money, I will match. So well done, Paul, on the fundraising. Oh, thank you. I don't want this to be about me, so I'm going to skip that question. And I don't want it to be about the omnivirus either. Okay. Hi, Paul. Nice job on this fundraiser. I don't see the list of charities. The Philippines Red Cross is a great organization, and that should be on the list. Yes, the Red Cross should be on the list. You go to the description under the Livecast, you'll see like 5 to 7 different organizations. And like I said, also churches is a good organization. Yeah. So let's just let me check something real quick here. I want to see if see who's joining me here when they're joining. Okay. Okay, so we got a donation here of $75. He didn't put it up, but he sent me a text message. So I don't know if he wants me to mention that or not. So, but I will match that $75. Let me write that down. So 75. I'm just making notes so I don't forget. 75. So, and I think he's going to join me. So, yep. Good morning, Mr. Ron. How are you? Hopefully, where you are, there hasn't been too much destruction. I think Davao was, saved from this typhoon. Let's see. You can send donations to ABS, CBN, GMA7, Inquirer, and Philstar. Okay. I don't know that. I didn't know that, but that's probably some good organizations. I like to vet the organization, so Google stuff. Make sure not 50% of your donation goes to management or something. So just make sure that it's a good organization. Yeah. So kind of come back into the comments, but let's not talk about the U.S. and omnivirus. Let's talk about the Filipino people and what we can do for the Filipino people. Okay. Mr. Ron says nothing happened in Davao, so that's good. Mr. Dan says we just left Lapu-Lapu after being in the middle of the typhoon. Horrendous damage. The chairman of the barangay said that it would be 2+ months before power is restored. So yeah, I've seen videos from Lapu-Lapu, my old place, and it looks horrible. Gio in the Philippines was obviously living there when that happened, and videotaped that the before and after, and it was horrendous. So okay, let's see here. One complication is people stealing the replacement transformers to get money for their families. Some fights over water have already happened. Yep, that's what happens when people are desperate, and that's why we need to help as much as we can. Wait, hit the join button. So let's see. Seagull Dot says you just got out in time, and I left about a month before this happened. So yeah, but yeah, kind of glad I wasn't there when this one hit, because living a month without electricity or even a week without electricity over there, it's hot and humid. So without aircon, it gets pretty bad. Yeah. So I'm just gonna move a bit here. Resituate myself. It's the Texan intuitions that keep you alive. What? I don't know what that means. Atik Greenman said, sorry, I gotta have some tea. Let's get Mia to make 50 donation packages and deliver to needy and make a video in the process, like Filipina P did. Yeah, I think she's already been to the someplace in Negros. I don't remember where, but I think she has, and helped out with a church or something. But she's going to be on here later, and I'll ask her exactly how people can help directly that way. I know there are some really good churches. I just don't have any contact information or any links to donate to the specific church, so I don't really have that information. And if I do, I will put it up here or put it in the description after this livecast. So let's see. Is nobody donating? Come on, guys. Tell me you're going to donate. See, wait a second. Yeah, come on, guys. We got 70 people on here, and no one is donating. That's sad. I've only had one person donate. Paul asks, how do you donate? Yeah, there is in the description. If you go to on your video, I'm not sure if you're on a laptop or on a phone. No matter, if you look at the description, you will see a donate button there, or you can just go to any organization that you know of that you would rather donate um, would rather donate to, and you can donate there. Just send me a screenshot on my email, which is on the about section. Um, so uh, Mark says he has donated. Cool. That's awesome, man. Send me an email. Tell me how much you've donated. Oh, there's been 244 raised in the Red Cross on the YouTube thing, I guess. That's awesome. Awesome. I can't see that right now. I don't know. This is the first time I've done it, so I'm not sure how to even look for it. I set it up just before here because I saw that. Let's see. Donations are showing in YouTube chat and new StreamYard chat. They're not showing on my StreamYard. But let me pull up the YouTube and see. See. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Let me see. I got two screens here. Are they showing up? Oh yeah. Anonymous donated 100 to American Red Cross. Awesome. Geo in the Philippines donated. Atik donated 20. So awesome. Reekay's donated $75. Awesome, man. Sorry, this doesn't show up in StreamYard, and I've just been looking at StreamYard, so I'll keep here. So thank you. I'm gonna just say thank you to these guys. Dan's retirement journey donated $10. Ricky Life Beyond the Sea donated 75. Thank you so much. Anonymous donated $20. And Geo in the Philippines donated 1,000 pesos. Thank you, Geo. Atik donated $20. Thank you. And Anonymous donated $100. Thank you so much, Mr. Anonymous. And so, wow, thank you so much, guys. So I'll check out in the end how much that is, and I'll match it. And I'll put a screenshot. You know what? Can I match it right now while we're on, or no? I'll do it towards the end. And that way, I haven't done this. Sorry, guys, before, so it's like new to me. Check the top of the chats. More than one person. See, Paul, check the top of the chats and you'll see the donations. Really? No, not in StreamYard. But maybe, yeah, I can see it right here. 293 we're up to now. Awesome, guys. And what's your email? If you go to the about section, and you'll see the email. My email is, but I'll type it here. Paul's Asian ADV at gmail.com. There we go. I think that's correct. Jason says he just donated 3,000 to the Philippines Red Cross, and we got Reekay with us. Hold on, guys. I'm going to get Reekay on board here. Hey, Reekay.
Hey, good evening here.
Yeah, same over here. We're both in the U.S. So I'm just we're up to $313 now.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that's
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah,
now Michael has
well,
donated $25. Thank you so much, Michael. Uh, Paul was mad. He was like, "Come on, donate something." And Mitch says he just donated $250 to the World Food Program. So, guys, that means my matching is over because my matching was up to $500. So, if what Mitch is saying is correct, plus the 293 here, or 363 we're up to right now, plus the 250 so we're over 200, 563, over $600. So wow,
Oh,
thank you so much, guys.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah,
So
I sent in I was the one that sent you the 75 early on. I thought it would just put it up there to kind of encourage people to donate, but yeah. So I sent you a
yeah,
screenshot to
I didn't even see that. It doesn't show up in StreamYard, and I've just been looking at StreamYard.
Well,
So
it didn't show up, I don't think on, I don't know, maybe it showed up. I mean, I
it
can
shows up on
see it.
YouTube, but not on
Yeah,
StreamYard. Yeah.
yeah, I can see it there, but I thought maybe it was just showing it to me. But
Okay.
yeah, so that, yeah, it's a good idea, and it's nice that the money goes directly to I think it's the Philippine Red Cross, because that way
Yep.
you don't have to handle any money, none of
Yes.
that.
That's why I switched off. Somebody was asking why the donate, the super chat button was off. So I switched it off right from the beginning. And I told people, don't PayPal me, don't super chat me, nothing. And I've switched off the super chat because I don't want money coming to me. I don't want to get involved in it that way. I want people sending direct to these organizations. Just read some more. Mr. Dan just donated 2,500 pesos, which is $50. Thank you so much, Mr. Dan.
All right.
And Mr. Dan, great on your matching donation, Paul. Well, it's up to $500. So let's see. Dan, retirement journey say this is a successful fundraiser. Bust out your wallet, Paul. Yes, I will have to. Well, I'm working again, so it's okay. Money's coming in, so it's okay with money. Hey, we got Filipina Life with us, so I'm going to add her to the stream as well.
All right.
Hello, Filipina Life with Mia. How are you?
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So you were involved in some type of church stuff, right? Could you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, because I don't know if you know this part of me. I go to church starting New Year. So actually, it was my pastor who said that, we should do something about it because as what we've seen in news, there's a lot of kids dying due to like lack of water and then no food. So last time, I think January 1st, we went there to like just give out small donation. Also, we're going on a second trip because I'm donating, of course. And then as what I've observed in the people, they're pretty much aggressive, and then also they're kind
Wait.
of
When you say aggressive, what do you mean by that? What?
aggressive in a way that because they are so thirsty, and then there's lack of water and there's lack of food. So like if people pass by, they're going to like stop you, and then they're gonna be like, we need water, we need food. And then they're also like having this billboard sign, not actually billboard but like a cardboard saying like, we need food, we need water. And then they will stay there until like morning, until afternoon. So I think we passed by there like 9 in the morning, and then when we came back at like 6 in the evening, they're still there like waiting.
Wow.
So we also saw this car, and he got like 4 gallons of water, and then all the people came rushing by, and they were bringing like five, like 2 to 3 5 gallons of like container, like empty container. And they're like aggressively, like they're not lining up or something like that, they're just aggressively going in and just trying to get the water. So it was pretty much sad to see all these people
Wow.
suffering.
Hey, so that's through a church or something? Is that right? Is there any
Come
way to
again?
donate? Is there any way to donate directly to that church,
Well, I usually give it to my pastor.
to your pastor?
Yeah.
Okay, tell you what. After the live cast, send me info on the pastor, and I'll put a $200 donation for that too. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
me up to
there's
$700, guys.
Hmm.
So let's go. Let's see. He says things have gotten really bad. Yes, they have. They have. And we got Geo in the Philippines. Can I have 4 people on the stream? I don't know. Is that possible? Never had. Oh, yep, we
Well,
can.
there you
So
go. We're getting
Hey
like a
guys.
Brady bunch here.
morning to you, Geo. How are you?
Hey,
Hi,
morning,
Gio.
guys. Hello, Mia.
Hey, man.
Hello, Reekay.
So you were in the middle of the destruction. You saw how bad it was. Could you tell us about your experience there? Like how the people reacted, the lack of necessities, and just what's going on there?
It was crazy. I mean, the power. I think the storm started to come through around, I don't know, like 7 p.m. I started hearing the wind and the rain, and and then the power literally went out about an hour later. And as you know, the generators, they only turn on like one light, one outlet, and the internet, and then we lost cell phone signal altogether too. I was able to have cell phone signal, I think, until around midnight. But I mean, I even did a video where I opened up the hallway and the wind was blowing in through the elevator banks. I mean, wow. It was just whistling. I actually have a video on that, and it was just crazy. At one point, I had so much debris flying into my window, I had to take the mattress off my bed and put it up against the windows because I thought something was literally going to come through the window. And people were going down to the lobby at One Manchester, but the lobby, the doors blew off. Flooding was coming in, and the ceiling came down in One Manchester, so they had to all go down into the garage because the lobby was no longer safe. And wow. We have some elderly people there. The one guy in the wheelchair, and but I could see it from my balcony. I would peek out every once in a while, and then when I went out the next morning, I mean, I knew it was going to be bad. I had no idea that just like those two brand new restaurants, Koji and Chubi that opened up, remember? Completely just destroyed. I mean, just nothing left. I mean, it was just doors, the whole front end blown off. But I mean, Filipinos, they're all like out there doing selfies and smiling, and I don't think it like totally like hit them yet because they're obviously at that point people aren't fighting over water or anything yet. But as the days went on, there was price gouging. Me could probably tell you this too, but like a small bottle of water, that normally would go for like 10, 15 pesos. By the time I left, it was going for like 85 pesos.
I just want to jump in here. I just want to say thank you to Michael Courtier for the donation of $50 Canadian, and to Ed M, who donated $100 to the American Red Cross, both of them to the American Red Cross. So now we're up to $553, and of course my $500 on top, so that we're over $1,000 right now. So awesome. Thank you so much. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. So I'm just gonna read some real quick stuff here. Let's see. Yes, I'm donating $200 to Mia's church because that's a direct donation, so that gets to the people much faster. And I know Mia's honest, and I know she'll do a great job of handing out the rice and the water.
Don't worry, I will make a video about it so you guys can see and
show me the receipts.
I will.
No stopping at Jollibee.
No stopping at Jollibee.
Maybe we'll stop, but I will not show you the receipt.
Price gouging. Yeah, there's a lot of price gouging. There's always like that. That's just the way. Too. That's human. That's just the way humans are, right? You can make more money no matter how much it hurts the other person. People are still gonna do it. So, Reekay, have you heard from your girlfriend how she's doing? I'm not sure. She's in Cebu, right? Is she okay? Is she?
Well, actually, back in April, right before that, when before I came here to California, of course, unbeknownst that all this was going to happen, we talked about her staying in Cebu. But, our conversation was, well, what if you get hurt, have to go to the hospital, there's no family in Cebu, I wouldn't be there, so it'd be safer for her to go to Davao. So she went to Davao, which is where she is right now with her parents.
Oh, okay.
So, just providentially, we dodged all that, and when I saw the pictures online for later, because at first it was Mactan and IT Park, those pictures were coming out. It was a while before I saw some of the damage there at Ayala, which was where we were at Solania. And then I was like, wow, this is really bad, for the winds to get through those buildings and still do damage. So we were fortunate. Now, there was 24 hours where the Globe network went down pretty much from Cebu all the way to Davao. And I was trying to get hold of her, and couldn't. There was no voice call available, no internet available. And this is in Davao. and
Yeah.
through much of Cebu. And like Geo knows, it was down, so much there in Mactan area. So I wasn't panicking because I knew the typhoon wasn't down there, but we're so used to talking, 2, 3 times a day that I was starting to like, well, what if something did happen, But I finally got hold of her. She got hold of me like 4 o'clock in the morning my time, and then I felt a lot better. But
Well,
that was our situation.
Davao is where you're at now, right, Gio?
Yeah, I came to Davao. I gave up my condo for a family to live in, so I got somebody living in my condo, and I'm here through the till February, and then I guess I'll assess the situation and see how they're doing and what.
And Mia, in Dumaguete, they have electric, but Valencia, they don't, right? Is that correct? Or parts of Valencia, they don't, right?
Part of Valencia they don't have, but like really up in the mountain where Paul although you lives, they already got electric, but as where I'm staying, nothing so far.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you live up in like Valencia in the mountains, at least it's cool there. Living in a condo in Lapu-Lapu without aircon, it's gonna get
Oh
hot.
man, yeah, that
You
can
know,
get brutal.
the Filipinos also they build their housing so the wind kind of blows through and keeps it cool. So they don't. A lot of Filipinos don't use aircon. But we as foreigners, we're more dependent on that
Yeah.
than the Filipinos are. Um, so see. The question from Matik is: do people have access to gas or coal to cook rice being donated, or is there a need for cooked food donation stands? Mia, maybe you can
Well,
talk to that.
well, when we pass by, there's a lot of like trees falling down, and also the time there's a bit of a sun, so the trees that was falling down, you can just use that for cooking food, and I mean that's what we usually use when we cook food. So there's no need for gas or coal or something like that. But for
Yeah,
some people who's living in big places, big houses, of course they
yeah.
need gas, and
Or
well,
electric.
they have
Some people
gas.
don't even have a gas stove; they have electric, and the electric is out,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm.
that's when you wish you
And
had a gas stove.
also it was too funny because like after the electric went out, people were doing the panic buying for generator, and then
Oh,
like they were lining up, and then one of my neighbor in the compound, and they're like, oh, we couldn't get anything because it was all sold out, and we were
yeah.
staying there for like 8 in the morning until in the afternoon just to get the generator, but then it was all sold out. It
Mm.
was
Yeah. Um,
I was going to mention real quick. You remember our condos were set up with the electric stove top,
yeah.
and so that went out. I couldn't use it, even with the generator running a few hours a day.
Uh,
That's not part that's running. So I was using the rice cooker to cook all my meals. So I would like hard boiled eggs in the rice
yeah.
cooker. I would cook soup in the rice cooker. That's how I cooked all my meals, was in the rice
How
cooker.
about
Because
the air fryer? Air fryer.
I could use the air fryer, but I couldn't use anything out of the freezer anymore because
Oh yeah.
they quickly learned that the generator would not run all day. That was only the first day, and then they realized, oh, we got to fuel this up. So they
Mm.
only ran it like a few hours per day, and it wasn't. I don't know how they
Mm.
came up with the schedule, but it wasn't a good schedule. The hours.
Someone says here price gouging is one thing. I've seen looters like you. I haven't seen looters like you would see in the USA. Well,
Yeah.
that's true. We haven't heard of looters. More like price gouging and people being aggressive, like Mia mentioned, for food and water. But no looting really, which is kind of amazing in this situation, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could, I wanted to give just some kudos to a buddy of mine there in Dumaguete, Daryl, and I won't give his last name just to keep his privacy. But my buddy Daryl, he had a generator. He'd already had a generator for months, and he was allowing people to in the neighborhood to come and charge their phones because when the net was working, they wanted to let their relatives know they were at least okay. So, just really wanted to thank him for doing that, making his generator available to let the people in the neighborhood charge up their phones and stuff. That was a really good thing of him to do.
Yeah.
We had like small little pockets of areas that had cell phone chargers set up where the call centers would open up their lobbies to people to come in and charge their phones.
Mm.
And for a small little while, Mocktown, Newtown, people actually could get a cell phone signal. I mean, there were thousands of Filipinos would all come into the Mocktown, Newtown the first couple of days after the typhoon. They were just all sitting around. They're like blankets on the grass, just hanging out because they might get like a small little signal for a few minutes. And then the signal disappeared and they were all gone after a couple of days.
Yeah.
So just to mention, guys, I did my matching, so I've donated $500. So just so
All
FYI.
right. That is awesome. That is really awesome.
Cool.
Let's see. Can we ask the girl which one of you gentlemen is them? Oh God.
Well, I'm already spoken for, so I'll pull myself out of that.
Well, I'll pull myself out too. That leaves Paul.
I'll pull myself out too. It's unfair. They're burning wood or using gas stoves to cook rice. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they're doing. Going back to the old ways.
Which for some, it's not that hard. Right? I mean, it's for some, it's like everyday life anyway, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do every day. So yeah, no big deal. Okay. A question to you, Gio, is how you holding up in Davao? How you liking it?
Am I holding up, or how is Davao holding up? Davao is doing just fine without me. I have a totally different feel for Davao this time around. Like the last time I lived in Davao for 6 months, I didn't have a motorbike, so every time I wanted to go somewhere, I was kind of annoyed because it's so spread out. It's like a 300 peso taxi ride here and then 300 pesos back. And now I have my motorbike, and it's I like it. I really, really like it so much more because I got my bike with me, so it's just I can just go everywhere. And
so Davao is your future home, maybe.
Who knows? I think the island of Mindanao for sure.
Yeah, CDO seems like a nice place to me too,
CDO
from what I've
nice
read.
too.
Yeah, I was there for a week. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
CDO or Davao?
Both.
Okay.
A week. Well, actually, a month. I was there for a week. Gio and I were at the same condo unit, and really great swimming pool or mall next door. But then when I went to go pick up V in 2020, we spent a whole month, the month of January there. So we got to see the north and the south end, but there was a lot we didn't see. So when I do eventually get back to the Philippines, since she's in Davao anyway, we'll probably spend 2-3 months there at least, as we make a game plan, for the later in the year.
Yeah, when I will eventually return to the Philippines. I'm not sure how long. Working is actually pretty tough. Calls in the middle of the night, 60-hour weeks, 6 days a week work, 1 day off. It's tough. It's a tough. I forgot how tough it was. I remembered all the good stuff, and I didn't remember the sleepless nights and being tired. But still, hey. So when I get back, that's one of the things I'd like to do is actually tour the Philippines, and Mindanao would probably be one of the places I want to see. I was there, but that was a long, long time ago. David says, I joined late, but wow, 4 people on at once. Looks like a real organized fundraiser. Yeah, we raised over $1,000 so far. So good stuff.
Excellent.
Let's see. Regine Bud says, and now they really spend a sustained amount of time. What? Okay. David C says, I would be one of those people in the panic line for generators as I have sleep apnea and need to run a CPAP machine. Oh, wow. Yeah. It's one of those things you need to get before the storm. Like over here, at least, when we know there's a storm coming, right? We'll buy lots of water, dry food. Don't forget the toilet paper. And
The day hose.
yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. Someone asked if we have curry in the Philippines. Yes, they have curry. Let's see. My sister got her electric back yesterday in Cebu City, Tabada. Yeah, they're slowly getting it back. And I don't know. Do you know if Lapu has electric back, Gio?
Not all of it. Some parts. Mactan Newtown got their electric back the day I left after 9 days.
Oh, wow.
But that was partially because Mactan Newtown had underground power lines going into it because they're more modern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that helped a lot.
Yeah.
But internet was completely out. Cell phone signal. So
Everything's out. Yeah. At least that family that's living in your condo has aircon.
they do. Yeah.
Expect a high electric bill.
I hope they don't run it 24/7. That's okay.
Let's see. SMC side was letting people charge phones. Yeah, I heard the malls really stepped up and stepped up and let people charge their phones, come in, and so they really did help. And that's something I've noticed with the Filipino culture. People really help out. If they can help out, they help out. Like Mia is going to the church, and the church is taking donations, going out there with rice and water, and everybody's trying to do their best to help everybody. Because it's a poor country, so everybody always tries to help out. And the Filipino people in general are very like good people, good-hearted people, I find. So
That's one thing that's come up in conversation is, with just friends of mine here in California, is that when I told them about the typhoon there and, that everybody was going in that area without like up to it, at that point, it was like 8 days.
just 1 second, Ricky. Hey, Mia, your background is so noisy. Can you just mute it when you're not talking?
Sure.
Sorry. Go ahead,
And,
Ricky.
and when we had that conversation, immediately the both of us were like, well, okay, how long could Los Angeles stay civil without electricity? And it was like we figured 48 to 72 hours, and then it would be pure chaos, just looting and destruction and everything. And so, like you mentioned, in the Philippines, everybody pretty much just focused on, well, okay, how can we get the basic necessities, some water, some electric, some food, and it wasn't at the expense of just pure chaos and looting and all that. And, I think that does say something for the overall general culture that they can handle uh, an emergency like this and still, just kind of keep their heads about them, because that wouldn't happen in Los Angeles. It would just be pure nuts.
I think it says a lot about them, actually. It says a lot about the Filipino people. And I mean, I don't know if everybody on here has been to the Philippines, but once you've been to the Philippines and you see how generous people are, I mean, I've been on motorbike rides, hikes where you go past, poor neighborhood, and people will invite you in and offer you food and coffee or something, even though they have almost nothing. So it's they're an amazing people. They really are, and that's why I think the Philippines is a popular destination. Here's one for you, Mia. The girl on the panel is quite cute. David says, "Well done to me." Have the Philippines decided to enforce building code standards for windows, roofing, as that was the failure across the board in Florida and having been through many hurricanes? Well, I'll talk a bit to this, but in general, the Philippines is, it's a poor country. It's a third world country, and they don't have a lot of funds. So typically the standards aren't really quite high, and there is corruption. So even if you had the standards, I don't know if they would be met or not. So maybe you guys, Gio and Ricky, would like to address that too.
Well, I'll say that, like, in some of the pictures I saw, especially with the gas stations and the Jollibees, I don't know that you could build anything that would handle those kind of winds. I mean, because, like the gas stations usually have just a big shade uh, roof. And I don't know how you could build anything that would, unless you made it out of cement. And even then, I mean, the wind gets under it and it'll just, take off with it. And we have pretty stringent building codes here in the United States. And yet, when a hurricane runs through, I mean, it does the same thing. If the air gets in there, it rips the roof right off, starts slinging, tin foil, or not tin foil, but those tin shingles all around. So, unless you were talking about, like, say, something built like downtown Tokyo where everything is cement, I think there's no way to really make it typhoon proof. That's just my thought.
You can make it probably better, but it would be at a very high expense, and it's
Yeah.
just you have to go way up the expense versus how many times is something like this going to happen, And I
Mhm.
just don't see where people are going to spend that kind of money. I just don't see it.
Well, and the other thing too is that historically, and I've said this so many times before, that one of the things I love about the Visayas and the Cebu to Toledo Moalboal area is that historically the barometric pressure is very low in the northwestern corner of the Philippines, north of Palawan. So the typhoons that they have, like anywhere from 8 to 12 a year, will come in from the ocean on the or from the east westbound, and they'll head towards Cebu. But like 99.9% of the time, the barometric pressure pulls it north, and it's usually Leyte and Luzon and Manila that get hammered. And
Yeah.
usually Cebu is called the Queen City that the typhoons just leave alone. So this really took them by surprise. Nobody expected it to head plow right through Cebu. That was really a
And
strange
Negros
anomaly.
too usually doesn't seem to. The 3 years I
Same
was there,
thing.
it didn't get hit at all, and now it got hit. Some places got hit really bad, and
Yeah,
complete destruction. I mean, you think there's a lot of Filipinos that live like in a bamboo house, or in it's a concrete house, but with a metal roof, which is like not really metal roof like we think of in the West,
right.
but a cheap roof, and any type of wind, very high winds, I know, is liable to pull that roof off. And of course, once that roof off, there's complete destruction inside the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a lot of destruction. Ryan, US Navy, says most of Baha'i Kobo has been destroyed or need tarp for roof protection. There you go. Yeah, I saw one vlogger. um she had just built a house up in Cebu somewhere, and her roof got ripped off too. So
Mm.
there's a lot of that.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was 3/4 done. My buddy Tony, about 3/4 done, and same thing. The construction wasn't finished yet, and the wind just took it. I saw the video with Tim Kay. His windows got completely blown in. That was a mess also
Yeah.
that he had to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah, in the U.S. and Florida, as you know, when those hurricanes are coming, they board them up with these plywoods, so to
Mm.
protect the glass. And I guess one of those things in Florida and the U.S., we've gotten so much of it that we kind of know what to do, like
Mm.
when it's coming. Everybody goes buys water.
Yeah.
They do all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
when Paul
definitely caught
said he's
everybody
going
by
back to
surprise.
Mia smiled from ear to ear. Okay. The roofing must have anchors to the walls. Okay. People need to board up their windows. Yeah, that is really true. They do need to board up their windows. But I don't know how easy it is to get like the plywood and everything in the Philippines. I don't think that's
Yeah.
something you can easily buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's a sudden expense. I mean, yeah, maybe let's say to get enough wood for all of the windows of the house, maybe it's $30-$40, but that's
Yeah.
maybe $30-$40 they don't have at that moment. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, $30-$40 doesn't sound a lot to us, but it's a lot for them.
Yeah.
When people are making $8 a day. Yeah.
Hmm.
Paul, Asian Adventure, are you letting people come onto your panel? Well, obviously, I have put 4 people on my panel.
Did like the Brady Bunch here with all the boxes.
Probably have to drop someone if any more people come on. Somebody's asking Mia where she's vlogging from. Mia, where are you vlogging from?
I'm
And why?
actually why? I'm actually here in Tom Tom's because I don't have any electricity in that place, and I also have a lot of things to do. So, yeah.
Okay, I recognize it now. I see the aircon behind you in the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah.
Okay.
When you said that, I was like, yeah, it
Yeah.
has to be Tom and Tom's. Yeah.
I see
so-
the writing on the wall on the left.
Our old hangout, Tom and Tom's.
Oh yeah.
Someone asked me, how are you going to disperse the funds to the charities? I've already donated my part to the Red Cross, so everybody can just donate to who they want, and that's the way it's going to be done. We're at
Oh,
$1,100 right now in donations, so thank you everybody for that.
probably good to reiterate for Gary. The money is not going to Paul. The button at the top of the YouTube, when you click on it, it goes directly to the Red Cross.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Paul's not going to be handling any money at all.
Yeah, none of it comes to me. I've already donated 500 directly, and you can see that in the chat. And then I want to thank Paul in the Philippines, Old Dog Nutrix. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Who
Hey.
donated 2,500 pesos or $50 US. And also to Miguel, who donated $50 to the Red Cross. So far, like I said, we're up to $1,100 donated to the Red Cross. Thank you everybody for that. Let's see what they're saying. David says, I was hoping that in Negros that they go ahead and improve, modernize the electrical system after the typhoon, with the hope there would be fewer brownouts in the future, but I guess not. Well, actually, while I lived there, they were constantly trying to improve the electric, and that's why they had all these brownouts, planned brownouts, because they were replacing the wooden poles with metal poles, so more modern. So that would actually, of course, help in a typhoon scenario. So they are doing work, but limited funds, limited know-how, and all that stuff. It takes time in a third world country. We're not in the US or Europe here. It's going to take time, but they're working on it. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, they're having to do work that took, probably the last 5 to 10 years to get up there, with all the poles and all that, Most of the poles I saw in the pictures were flat, horizontal.
Yeah. What was the velocity, the speed of the wind for the
I don't know,
Just
maybe
about-
Geo knows.
I think it hit right about 200.
200 kilometers? Wow.
No, I think that's miles per hour, but that was here in Cebu. I think Cebu got hit a little harder than Dumaguete, because actually people were leaving Cebu to go to Dumaguete. And they were also going north to Bantayan Island, because everybody at the beginning, they were like, where can we go? Who has power? Who has electric? And everybody was like either going north to Bantayan Island and Bogo, and they were going south and then crossing over to Dumaguete. And me, I thought about it, and I was like, I know those places are going to get crowded, and I was like, where can I go that, and I just kind of figured I wanted to go to Mindanao. But
yeah, I saw your video when you went to the airport. Completely pictures. I don't remember, but it was like completely crazy.
It was insane.
And also when you went to get the ticket for the
boat,
for the boat, the ship, that
6.5 hours waiting in line to get my boat ticket.
It was like a Who concert or something.
And the security was yelling and pushing the crowds back, like physically pushing them back. I had some of that on video, but
everybody wants out, huh?
Well, a lot of people just wanted to go back home, and it was also the holidays. I mean, it was just everything.
Yeah,
was just
I kind of forgot about that. It was Christmas, yeah. So There's still parts of the world that don't have electricity. We have become so reliant on power and the internet that most of us don't know how to live without it. That's absolutely true.
Yeah,
You don't
can't
really
get
you,
the
you don't
TikTok.
really realize how valuable it is before it's gone.
I
Because we're
know.
just used to it. It's kind of like breathing, right? It's like it's just always there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, once you lose it, and like once you live in a third world country, I mean, like living in Negros, and you have a 12-hour brownout, planned brownout usually, and you have to go 12 hours without electricity, without internet. At least you have cellular, but you realize how much you appreciate the things that you just take so for granted in the West, really. And I think that's one of the things I took away from living in the Philippines, that I'm so much thankful for everything else that I have, that the small things that I didn't really think about before, I really think about it now and think, wow, I'm happy to have this,
Yeah.
instead of complaining, being grateful for what you already have,
Yeah.
So Liz says, thank you for initiating fundraiser. No problem. My pleasure to help. Let's see. Everybody's talking about Mia, how amazing Mia is. Mia, everybody tells you you're amazing. Global warming may make it more common than you think, Paul. Yeah, that's actually correct. They've measured the temperature of the sea for what, over 100 years or something now, and it's getting hotter, and that's that's the energy where these typhoons, hurricanes get their energy from, is how hot the sea is. Anybody want to comment on that?
No.
I'm staying away from the global warming debate.
Yeah. Well, I will just say that back, in history, at one point, half of North America, the United States, was covered in ice,
Yeah,
and the climate changed and warmed enough that, in fact, there was also an ice bridge that went out from Alaska, and it warmed up enough that it melted all the way back to Canada, and there were no cars back then. So that's I'm just putting it out there that this has naturally occurred without vehicles in the past.
well, whether it's natural or not, it's happening, right? We can
Yeah,
all
yeah,
agree
it's
on that.
happening.
We can
Yeah.
all agree on that.
Yeah.
$1,200 we're up to now. Anonymous just donated another $50. Thank you so much, Mr. Anonymous. Let's see. When will the mass hysteria be over so things can go back to normal? I think he's talking about the COVID situation. I can address that. I think right now we're in the end of the pandemic, beginning of endemic. Everybody's panicked about the omnivirus, but I can tell you this from the research I've done, it's probably a blessing in disguise, because it has very little effect on people, and also they get a better immunity against other variants. So I think we'll be seeing the end of the pandemic, and we'll be going towards an endemic, because for the rest of our lives we'll be with COVID. There'll be some type of strain. But if I've done some research on this, and it seems like viruses always go towards less deadly, because the deadly ones just basically die out because they are deadly and they can't transmit,
They kill
as
the
well
host.
as they kill the host, basically. Yeah. So, and if you want to talk about that, have anything to say about that?
No,
I think you owe me a coffee, Paul.
Come on, man. I just
Yeah, no,
donated
I agree.
500 to the Filipino people. I think we forget that freaking coffee. No. I'll buy you a coffee, man. We'll do a live cast where I'm buying you a coffee.
Yes, we'll have to go to a coffee shop.
Get
It's the principle. It's not the matter of buying.
But I almost won that bet. I mean, it was opening in
Oh, yeah,
December
I know,
until the
I know.
omnivirus hit. I was so
Almost.
close. I was so
Almost.
close.
That only counts with, what is it?
Hand grenades.
and
Yeah. Now, there were rumors I saw online that I left because I owed you a coffee.
yeah, that was.
Siegel says, well, this was a big success fundraiser. Yes, it was actually. Beyond what I thought we'd reach. We're at $1,200. Plus, I think somebody donated to a different charity, not Red Cross, and he's going to send me a screenshot of that. So I think we're probably up to $1,500 or something in donations. Not everybody's donating to the Red Cross. Some people are probably donating to some of the descriptions I have below. Oh, we have Paul Old Dog with us. 1
Oh,
second.
cool.
Let him join. I hope we can have him in. Is there enough
Yeah, I think you
place?
can have like 6 or something.
Oh, cool. Hey, Paul. How are you?
Hey,
Hey,
guys.
Paul.
Thank you for your donation, Paul.
No worries. Thanks for having the show, man. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So you're in Valencia, right? And do you have electric? Of course, you have electric. Valencia powered by battery.
Yeah, we were 13 days without electricity, but we got it back.
Yeah. Is that pretty tough?
You know what? We just kind of adapted to it, to be honest with you. We got lucky. There was a internet shop that they just opened down the road a bit. And so every morning, May and I would go down the street and recharge our phones and computers and devices and lights and all that good stuff. So we had a few snafus along the way.
Yeah. Well, it seems like people are good at adapting in the Philippines. You have to be, right? If you're going to thrive there, you have to adapt. I mean, that's just part of the life there, right, Paul?
Well, you know what kind of torqued me a little bit was how much people were complaining here where I live, foreigners, of course, and we really never got hit. I mean, we got hit, but there was no severe damage here like there is up in Bais or in Cebu or Geothermal or all that kind of stuff. So we were kind of inconvenienced, if you will, in relationship to what was going on around us.
Yes.
So when May and I were out of electricity, it just was, okay, well, let's do Maggetti's intact. We'll just go downtown and we'll eat out this week or next week. Yeah. And then we'd go for a couple of hours because we're early birds. So we go to bed about 8:30. So we'd have 2 hours of darkness, but we had rechargeable lights and we would illuminate our house and we had eaten out. So it was no big loss really to us personally. Yeah. And so, it was a little uncomfortable because you didn't have air conditioning on demand and you didn't have this on demand and you couldn't get on the internet. But I grew up without the internet. You know, I'm of that era. So I did this nutty thing. I read a book. Okay.
A book? What is that?
Have ever seen one? All right. For those of you that only own phones, this is known as a book. And you read it because someone wrote it. And it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, now, were the dinosaurs really as tall as they look in the movies?
Well,
I think Mia was in Bais, so she saw some pretty bad destruction over there. She went with her church. She was talking about that earlier about the destruction there. So I think she's headed back.
One of our comrades, Bud Brown, is going up there this morning with a group of guys.
Oh, really?
Some trucks with bottled water, tarps,
awesome.
And things of that nature. So he's going to go up there. Finn Snow and the guy named Critter Hunter, Justin, a friend of mine, is already been up there, left and right, back and forth, bringing in supplies. So there's a lot of community involved, you know.
Yeah, that's.
And what I saw out here was how much the community would step up to the plate and just help one another.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm too old to get out there and lift trees, but little May and I, we did bring food for the workers and stuff like that, and water and whatnot. And they had my road cleared out in a day and a half, and that was all the locals. That was no government entity that came into it at all. It was just guys that one guy went up and down the street, 2 guys on a little tiny motorbike with a big ass chainsaw about as big as the motorbike. And they just came and hacked trees up in the road and so that guys could lift them and get them out of the way. And then all the electrical stuff, they took sticks and got it out of the way. And that just went all around the whole deal. Awesome, so it was not these people's first rodeo. You know, they had been there and done that. And the guy that lives across the street from me actually said they had a big ass typhoon come through this area back in the mid 90s, and he remembered it real well. So
they were semi-prepared.
Yeah. But as far as our little world down here where Mia lives and where I live, there's not that much destruction that you can really say, wow, that's brutal. There's no bridges that have been taken out. There's no buildings fell down. It was mostly wires and fallen trees and some rocks. But 2 hours, you go up to Bais and they're just slammed. And then Geo, I guess you had to bail out of Cebu, huh? Because I was out of communication with everybody for 13 days. It was just a matter of getting online. And no matter where you went, you couldn't get online unless sometimes you could get online for an hour and then it would drop, like if you went to a coffee shop. So, yeah. So, Gio, what happened in Cebu? Were you able to, did you have any kind of generator or anything there where you were at? Because I honestly don't know.
We did. Well, we had a generator, but the way the generator works is it only powers one outlet, the refrigerator, and one light. So there was no aircon. There's no lights in the CR. The hot water's not running. I mean, so you don't have all of that stuff. And the first day they ran the generator 24/7, but then they realized on the second day they ran out of fuel. And then they realized, oh, we can't get any fuel trucks here. All the roads are clogged up. And so then we sat for almost 3 days with no power. And then they got a fuel truck, and then they realized, okay, we need to do this just a few hours a day. You get power to cook your lunch or whatever. And I was telling Paul earlier, I learned how to use a rice cooker for everything because I couldn't use the frying pan. I couldn't use any of that stuff. I used the rice cooker to make soup, to make hard-boiled eggs, to make everything. So, and I lost weight though. I tell you, the Typhoon is a great diet plan.
It's like I refer to the Typhoon as it's like camping, but different.
Yeah. Right.
Not as fun.
I left after 8 days. Actually, I was telling them I have a Filipino family living in my condo. I need the internet and stuff, and there's no internet. There's no cell phone signal. I mean, everything, the restaurants and stores, ATMs don't work at all. You'd have to go all the way into Cebu City and stand and wait for like hours to get cash. And then one day we stood in line. We stood in line 3 hours, and then they come out and tell us, oh, there's no cash. We're like, you couldn't tell us 3 hours earlier?
But that's the Philippines, though, right? Everybody, that's just...
Like, they must have been laughing at us and pointing for like 3 hours.
Good laugh. Sherry says most people here can't afford to buy glass windows. That's also true. It's a poor country, so climate change is having an enormous effect. The future is more unpredictable. True. Let's see. Barry says, hello to you all. Apart from the occasional cyclones in some northern parts of Australia, most of the country is lucky in that regards. How is the electric in Duma? I know there are hot springs in the mountains. They should go geothermal power, cheap. Iceland Geothermal works. Actually, they do have geothermal power in Dumaguete. They have these plants where they've drilled wells.
Up in
And
Valencia,
it's not Valencia. It's
where's that?
Isn't it near Darwin? They have those because I went to some hot springs down in like Darwin.
What's that place we went to, Mia? Remember that place? And I was explaining to you how all that stuff works. Do you remember the name of that place? I can't remember exactly where it was, but they had these. That's where Peter's friend used to work, and it's they create electricity there via thermal. So they do have that. Quite a bit of electricity actually produced from there.
Yeah, and then there's like 3 plants up in Valencia, way in the hills. I went up there with Orville one time and checked them out.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. Renewable energy.
Yeah.
Cheap too, I would assume.
And safer than
Besides,
volcano.
yeah, besides drilling the well, there's really not much expense to it, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
So yeah, one would think that a country prone to typhoons would do underground electric and other utilities.
Costs a
I
lot of
think it's
money.
I think it's a cost thing, right? So
That's why, remember I was telling you, in Lapu Lapu, Mactan, Newtown, we were like the first to get power back on the 8th day because we were the only place that really had underground lines. So it was much
Yeah.
easier to restore power.
Now the other thing with underground lines, they're much harder to work on, obviously, to do something with. If something happens, it's more cost to it. But let's see here. Someone has some information here. Stan says the typhoon was measured over 400 kilometers across, so a lot of the Philippines got hit. One bit of good fortune was that it was fast moving storm and not a huge storm surge. True. So if it's fast moving, it didn't. I mean, there was a lot of rain, but if it was slow moving, it would have been a lot worse than a
Yeah,
fast
would
moving one.
linger in a place. Yeah.
That actually does sometimes. Maybe I think that's why Yolanda had more deaths. Probably because the flooding, because it was slower and it like all the rainfall and the flooding. You know what I mean? Like this came through fast, and really, flooding wasn't a huge thing all over. It was a little bit, but
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing. There's all these guys talking about Mia. Guy, this is not the show of Mia. We're trying to raise money here.
Should I just go out?
No, it's fine.
Mia's the star, and she's not even saying much.
Yeah. My wife has a 1150 square meter lot in Valencia, close to Dumaguete. Old dog lives in that area. Okay. So here in America, people complain for such little things. They couldn't make it in the Philippines without going crazy. Yeah, it's true. That's one thing. It's true. You get, like I was saying earlier, you get so used to the electric being on, the internet being on, never losing electric, never losing internet, and just you get used to all the the easy way of life here in the US. So people have a tendency to complain about the littlest thing, and I think once you've lived in a third world country for a while, when you come back, you just kind of oversee that stuff and just happy to have whatever you have.
Yeah. The irony was that I came back to California in April, and the large rural area that I'm in, after 30, 40 years, they decided once I got back here in April, they decided to upgrade all the transformers, like, for 10 miles around. So the power went off. We had all day brownouts from morning to night. Like, I think we had 8 of them over a span of like 3 months. So it was almost like being back in the Philippines. It was like, okay, let's go to the movie theater, then we'll go hang out at the restaurant, then we'll come back at 6 p.m. when the power's back on. But so I already knew the routine.
The worst thing was in Negros, Dumaguete, was when the lockdowns were there, and they said they were going to have a brownout, and people didn't care at that point. People just left, and everybody was at the swimming pools and at the beaches, and they were saying, "No, nobody go out," and everybody's like, "We're going out." We're going to sit here and suffer.
The problem with the brownouts, like the scheduled ones in Dumaguete, is like we would say, like, okay, let's go to forest camp. But then you get there, and everybody, of course, has the same idea, right? Yeah. Everybody's at forest camp, or you go to this place, or you go to Tom and Tom's. It's like people are sitting everywhere.
Yeah. And if you get in the mall, there's nowhere to sit. If there is anywhere to sit, it's been taken. And what we would do is sometimes go into the movie theater. If we lucked out, we got out of the movies and the power was on.
Guys, Jack Iceman just donated $75 to the American Red Cross. Thank you, Jack. And
all right.
And
how much have you raised so far, Paul?
$1,300 with the last donations here. Napoleon USA donated $50 to the American Red Cross. Thank you, Napoleon, and thank you, Jack. So we're up to 1,300 and something. And I believe somebody else donated a few $100s to a different cause, and I have to scroll up and look afterwards. So I think we're over $1,500 easily.
Wow.
So yeah, that's going to help a lot of people. And also another way of donating, if you know, I was saying this earlier, but I haven't mentioned it since the beginning. If you know of a good church, you know people that go to a church, and you know they're doing some work, like I feel like a direct donation to them will probably get to the people a lot faster than maybe through Red Cross, if you know what I mean. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. If you go on Facebook right now, there's all kinds of places, donation things going on. You just have to be careful that you're just not sending it to some random person. You need to verify that it's actually maybe the pastor of an actual church. You verify it's him. And
because there's always, when this happens, tragedy happens, there's always scammers out there, and that's what you got to be careful about, you know. So, yeah.
But I did see quite a few things on Facebook.
Yeah.
Bud Brown works directly with a charity called Little Children of the Philippines.
Yeah.
And they donate. In fact, I think he did a video about it a week or so ago. And Little Children of the Philippines is a kind of matriarchal woman, and she has her office, if you will. And Bud and the guys will go down and bring school supplies or whatever they need. And this time, of course, they brought other items like rice and tarps and all that. So I had a gentleman ask me the other day, who would I recommend that he donate to? And that was the only thing that came to mind, because there's so many so-called organizations and charities that,
So I just put it in. I just put it in the comments. If anybody wants to donate to that one, just put it in the comment here, and I'll add it to my description. While you guys talk, I'll add it to the description. So go ahead and just.
I can totally agree with Paul, because I know Bud. I mean, he's a stand-up guy. I can tell you from years of knowing him. And Geo, I believe, has met with him many times. No doubt in my mind, he's a stand-up guy.
You always know when he's coming around. You can recognize his little
the chariot.
His little chariot.
And I'll say it because Bud won't. Bud, for years, going back 6 years ago when I was there in Dumaguete, Bud would be putting around on a regular basis, just talking to all the kids, and he would have like sandwiches and water bottles and new flip-flops, and he knows these kids' names. He speaks to them in Visayan, and just hands out, just does this out of his own pocket. He's been doing this consistently for years, so when I say he's a stand-up guy, he really is. He's someone that can.
I'll vouch for that. And one thing that I don't think people are aware of, that he was actually responsible for, I believe it was a 12-year-old or 13-year-old boy, to get adopted.
Oh wow!
He had done a little highlight piece, if you will, about this homeless kid, and a local Filipino family saw the video, and they actually adopted him.
Wow!
And Bud went back like 3 or 4 months later and visited him. I forget the child's name. Apologize. I got a great memory, but it's only really short. And Bud broke down in tears when he saw the kid, because the kid was healthy. He was happy. He was in school. He had nice clothes on. So that man's responsible for at least one human being's total transformation and resurrection, if you will, from the streets of Getty into a loving Filipino family. And like Ricky said, as long as I've known Bud, which goes on many years now, he's always got sandals for the kids, whatever he can do. He's on a very low budget, and he maximizes every month to make sure that the kids have sandals on their feet, or when he can, he'll buy somebody a meal and such as that. So he's a stand-up guy. So that's the only reason I say the Little Children of the Philippines, because he's affiliated with them and actually has video footage of them, getting the money directly from you, the donator, to the people. There's no administration charges. No advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wants to join here called Property Club. Do you know who that is?
Oh, he has a channel. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he does have a channel. I have heard of him. Yeah.
Okay, I don't. How did he get the link? That's
I don't know. I didn't send it out to anybody.
Well, so there's no video, so he's gone. He went out anyway. So, okay. Let's see here. David says, went through many typhoons as I lived in Luzon, 86 to 90. Strange seeing palm trees completely over one way and then flipped over in the opposite direction as the winds changed. Palms are tough. That's true. Palm trees are tough. Let's see. Drew says, well, in the 70s, it was global cooling, and I remember that actually. We were heading towards an ice age. Then in the 90s, Al Gore predicted that we would have places flooded. Then when that didn't happen, they decided to call it climate change. I don't know. I know the planet is getting warmer, so let's see. Wait. So, wait. The next big coffee bet is the election date. Yeah. So what's your prediction, Gio, on when the Philippines is opening?
I still think it's going to happen before the big Southeastern Asian Tourism Summit, which is hosted by the Philippines this year in March. I still think it's going to happen by then because most of the other countries are open. Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand, Cambodia, in some capacity they're open. Yeah. And I think it's kind of an embarrassment for the Philippines to host this tourism summit, and all these other countries that are joining are open in some aspect, and the Philippines is not. I just can't imagine that, but you know.
So by March, Michael says when the cases go down in every country, the Philippines will open is my guess. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what Gio was saying. Mia, can I donate to the church group that you are working with? Tim's Life Adventure is wondering. I'll let Mia address that.
Just send me an email. It's in a description, not description, but in my about section. There's an email there that we can just talk.
Okay. And I'll get with you afterwards and get that pastor's information, all that. Maybe I'll put it in the description as well, and then people can see that. So if you want to donate to her church, I'll get the information from her and put it in the description, and then you can donate directly to her church. Horses and hanging. Mia is drinking Paul's coffee now. Yeah. I should be there and drinking
Mia's
that
got
coffee.
My coffee. Paul, when do you think the Philippines will open up? Old dog.
I'm not nearly as optimistic as you, Gio. I keep hearing horror stories from guys coming over here. I know one guy, I don't know him personally, but my neighbor is his business partner. He was canceled 14 times.
Oh, man.
Trying to get from Arizona to here. And each time he had to take the test. And so real quick, just to give you a little horror story. I just heard this last night. Was the update on his partner was he took a test in Arizona, came up negative, got on the plane and flew into, I believe, Manila, got off the plane and tested positive. And now it's like he's asked in some rat hole hotel for 10 days.
Oh, God.
I can tell you that's not
It's in another hotel across town. And so he's paying double hotels. And so they had this law up to December 31st that if you got through your quarantine, you didn't have to be tested. And then on January 1, they said, no, we changed our mind. I think we're going to need to be tested. So he comes up with another positive. They got 10 more days.
Oh, man.
You know, I hear these stories and it's like, I'm keeping my ass right here. I'm not going anywhere. And so March, I was saying a year ago that we'd be out of here on Christmas, but I mean, it's just so far out.
We almost did.
I've become much more conservative in my I failed fortune telling in high school, by the way. I want to just confess that. I never made it. I never made the cut. But I'm thinking like summertime. I don't know. It's just one step forward, two steps back. But I'm just getting
for sure.
I don't know. Maybe Gio's right. I hope Gio's right.
You know what's an interesting key thing that just happened as of yesterday, January 1st, is there's an article dated back in August, and I believe it was CDC declared back in August that they found the PCR test to be 40% unreliable. And they said that starting January 1st of this year, which was just yesterday, well, except for Philippines 2 days ago, as of January 1st, the CDC no longer supports the PCR test as a valid way. And they're working on a new test that's supposed to tell the difference between COVID and the flu. But so it's interesting that the PCR test is still being used to decide if you're going to stay in the COVID hotel or not. But as of now, it's no longer supported. It's been considered 40% inaccurate. So.
I just hope the Philippines got that memo.
Even if they get the memo, it takes a couple of months for them to
get implemented.
The guy, whenever the guy flies, this gentleman that got canceled 14 times, whenever he flies, he gets a sinus issue. I don't know what the deal is, but we're thinking that's probably he's just very susceptible to other people on their colds and whatnot, because he always has a sinus problem whenever he gets on an airplane. And so we're thinking that he had a little sinus infection or something, and that came up as the positive. And you're right, Ricky. My friend was quoting me that exact article last night, that it can't really differentiate between the common cold and COVID. So that's where all your positives are coming up from. Because why would you test negative in Tucson, Arizona, and within 24 hours test positive when you get off the plane? It doesn't make sense. One of the tests is inaccurate. Yep. And you're right. Yeah. They're just saying that test doesn't work, and we're taking it off the table.
Well, whatever happens in the West, it tends to take 2-3 months for it to be decided on in the Philippines. It's just like the Omni variant. I think that's going to kind of be the end of the pandemic and go over to endemic. But I think it'll take 2 to 3 months for the Philippines to realize this and then open. Because you must remember, they almost opened in December. We were really close. We were days away. Then the omnivirus news came up, and then they said, "Oh, we're closing everything." Like, "Oops, we're closing everything." So unless there's another variant that the world is screaming about by March, I think Gio is right. I think we'll be open by March, but I'm not betting another coffee on it. I've been wrong so many times, so that's.
A quick story on that. A guy, when that window opened up and they said, you can come December through this date. If you come from a yellow country, you can come to the Philippines. So he flew to Dubai, and he was going to wait 14 days, and then he was going to come over to the Philippines. Of course, he flies into Dubai, and he's staying at this hotel, and then Philippines shuts down. He is still waiting in Dubai. He decided he's just going to wait. Yeah.
And that's not cheap.
That's not cheap.
It's not cheap. Dubai is expensive.
Someone is asking. Someone's asking what Mia's channel's name is, and that's Filipina Life with Mia. So, and then next question is to you, Gio. Gio, your experience in surviving the typhoon is unique to the group. Any lessons learned that you can pass on to us?
I don't know if I survived the typhoon. It sounds like I was like hanging onto the railing and almost being blown away. I mean, it wasn't quite like that, but I honestly, you know, this hasn't happened in 35 years in Cebu, and I just thought we were going to get some bad wind and maybe a lot of rain or something, but I didn't think anything like this. So maybe next time when there's a storm in the area, maybe I will go fly somewhere and chill for a few days. If something this big comes again, I probably won't just hang out in my condo. But
okay, guys, we just got another $100 donation from Off the Cuff Adventures with Jamie. So that means we're up to $1,400 and change for the American Red Cross.
All right.
So thank you so much for that. Let's see. Balut John says, "Hi Paul, you'll be my neighbor someday." Okay, good to know.
I think he's talking about Old Dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's two Pauls here.
Paul. No.
Hey, Paul, what kind of culture shock did you go through when you went back home?
Well, it's not like I haven't lived here, but the problem is that plane ride was pretty long. I was pretty stressed. My back almost went out, and I was staying at my friend's house, and then I had to go to a hotel. I had to rent a car, get to Odessa. Then here I was in a hotel, and then once I was in a hotel, I moved to the apartment, and it just a lot of moving, a lot of renting cars, trying to find a car to buy, trying to buy everything that I needed here. So it was very stressful the first 2-3 weeks. At the same time, I was working, trying to get up to par. It's been 3.5 years since I did any engineering in my field. So it's not only learning the new systems that they have, the different software that they have, but also just trying to remember all the things that I used to do. And it's been very stressful. So, but it was, some things are actually kind of nice. Like I joined the gym. It has a really nice jacuzzi, and I can sit in jacuzzi and get some heat. It's got a wet sauna. It's got a pool. It's got a nice amount of weight. So I started working out again. And, the food here is wonderful. You have so many choices when you go to H-E-B or even Walmart. You have so many good choices and different options. So it's there's been a lot of positives here. It's kind of funny. I bought my old car back. I sold my car in 2018 and I got it back again. So, so it's been a good experience, stressful, very stressful, but good. I was not really enjoying work the first couple of weeks. I was actually contemplating just, as soon as the Philippines opens up, I'm leaving kind of deal. But now I'm enjoying it. It's a challenge. There's a lot of things that I need to get done at work. And the thing I don't like is the calls in the middle of the night to fix stuff, but it's okay. So it's been a change, but it's not like I haven't done this before. But when you've been retired for 3.5 years and go back to working 60 hours a week, 6 days a week, I'm supposed to have, I'll tell you a funny story. In Christmas, I was supposed to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And I told my indirect boss, hey, I'm taking Saturday off. I'm just completely taking off. I'm not answering phone calls, nothing. I just need my brain to switch off. And he said, oh, you're off on Saturday anyway, so no big deal. Technically, you're off on Saturday. And I said, technically, I'm off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Technically. So yeah, it was. It's been good and bad. Let me put it that way. But it's nice to be working again. That's for sure. Nice to see the money rolling in again. No doubt about it.
So, Paul will tell us how he really feels once the kid.
Yeah. No, it is good and bad. I think wherever you go, you have to try to have a positive attitude. And, Philippines has bad stuff and good stuff. The U.S. has bad stuff and good stuff. I think wherever you go, there's good and bad. And I think you just have to take the bad with the good. That's kind of... I don't think there's any perfect country, Yeah,
it's a matter of adapting and what your priorities are. Different people, some people want city life or province life, and they can handle one or the other. and it's just a matter of matching your priorities and kind of adjusting to what the pros and cons are to anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. That is really true. Mark says here, heck yeah, over 1,000 raised. I hope this helps keep the charities posted in your description. Please, Paul, I will give as more as I can. Thank you so much, Mark, for giving, and thank you for giving in the future. This is so good, and I feel so strongly. Only problem for me is I got hit with Ida, but this is such a good thing. Blessings. Thank you. So what have you all learned from this last 10 days, 14 days?
Over 2 weeks now, isn't it? Or no, how long has it been?
2 weeks, I guess, yeah.
Something like that.
Wow, it's great to see all my favorite bloggers all together in one place. Should get together more often under better circumstances. Yeah, that's true, really.
Yeah, we'll have to do something like that.
We could do like a charity every 2 months for different causes, That would be...
if Mia wasn't here, if Mia wasn't in the picture, I would swear this looks like a male version of The View.
There you go.
Who wants to be
on the other end of the spectrum?
Yeah. So Mia, you're going back to Bias, right? In 3-4 days, right? And you're
but like I have to wait because I have an exam. So
okay.
I'll finish my exam first, and then after that we could go back. And I mean, not you and I, but the church and the people.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of people who's giving out like one sacrifice, and then
So when you say a sack of rice, most people don't understand what that is. That's like 10 kilos or
50 kilos.
50 kilos. Okay.
Yeah.
50 kilos of rice. That's a lot of rice.
Almost 100 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll last a typical Filipino a week, right?
5 days. Yeah.
Oh
Three
man,
times a day.
3 meals.
they
of
eat a lot of rice.
day.
Yeah, for breakfast with eggs. They have rice sweets. They have rice for dinner. That's rice.
Yeah.
I think I remember a few years back, I don't know if you guys remember that, in India, they didn't run out of onions, but they were running low on onions. And I guess Indians love onions. And there was like riots in the streets. Do you guys remember that?
Boy. No.
And I think if we're running low on rice in the Philippines and they change it out with potatoes or something, I think there'd be riots in the street. That's the only time I can see Filipinos rioting. Just
That was when you would
rice.
see riots and looting. Looting stores for rice.
Yeah.
Now, see, I actually have with V. She's actually like a rare Filipina who, like, the whole time we were in Cebu, she would have rice maybe 2-3 times a week, like
Wow.
one bowl a day. Like, we rarely made rice, and when we did make rice, she would make the brown rice mostly for me for breakfast. But she's more into vegetables than rice. Very very rare.
Very unusual. Yeah. Very unusual. I don't know. I've heard both the ways. And like some people say rice is not healthy. I've heard some people say rice is healthy for you. So I don't know. The Filipinos seem to be, healthy. I mean, not just the Filipinos, but in general in Asia, they eat a lot of rice, don't they? And and in Asia, they live the longest. So it can't be all bad.
Yeah. Well, in Vietnam, I noticed very little rice. I mean, you'd find it here and there, but they had so many other dishes that had no rice. Another consideration is that yes, a lot of Filipinos do eat rice on a regular basis, but they're also very active, working and working hard, and so they're burning it off.
Yeah.
And a lot of Filipinos are just busy doing Zumba and all these other things too. So
And they walk a
they're
lot.
being busy burning it off. Us older guys, we eat a bowl of rice and then we get on the internet for 4 hours. That's not a good combo.
That's true. And Filipinos walk a lot,
Yeah.
So it's not like us, we drive down to the post box, get the mail and drive back,
Yeah.
They do a lot of walking over there,
Yeah.
So,
So they're very active
yeah.
lifestyle.
David says, had an idiot go out in the middle of the typhoon. He crawled leaning against the winds about 10 paces when a coconut hit him on top
Ooh,
of his head and knocked him out. Had to
geez,
send someone to rescue him. True story. He was lucky it didn't kill him. I
geez.
remember I was walking in Valencia with Mia, actually. I don't know if
Mhm.
you remember this, Mia, and we were walking not maybe 3 meters, not right in front of us, right in front of us to the east type of deal. This coconut hit the ground and it sounded like a gun had gone off. And I jumped.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I jumped. And I thought to myself, this is how little, the difference between living and dying. If I'd been,
yeah.
a bit to the east on the road and 3 meters ahead or 2 meters ahead, however far it was,
Hmm.
I literally wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
Do
You
you
were
remember that?
lucky.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
I
You
was
were
lucky.
actually
You were
lucky.
lucky too. It didn't hit you.
Well, because I moved farther away because it
You were
was
on my
also
left
raining
side.
that
That's right.
time.
Yeah.
I experienced that in Pang Lao. The house was in the middle of Pang Lao, but it was also in the middle of about 50 coconut trees. And there was a path. And they told me, you stay on the path. Because when these coconuts fell, it's like bowling balls falling out of the sky,
Yeah.
and when a guy came to cut them down and harvest them, yeah, they'll kill you. I mean, it's pretty serious. It sounds
Yeah.
funny from the cartoons, but yeah, it's serious business there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Or your
to.
motorcycle.
I'm not plugged in, and my laptop's about to shut down, so I just got the little ding there. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. But thank you to everybody for responding to Paul's call for donations. That's really awesome, and glad to see all you guys. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Thank you for
Reekay,
joining us,
enjoy
Ricky.
the beach behind you there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go
I'm
for a
gonna jump
swim.
in there now. All right, see you guys.
See
All right,
you.
see
Bye
ya.
bye.
I'm going to have to step out myself, guys. I got some things to do.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Gio.
Yep. Hopefully, continue to grow in the amount that you're getting there for the charity. And I really like the one that Paul mentioned. I think I might have to put a link in my future videos. Paul, what was that name of the charity again that Bud Brown does?
Little Children of the Philippines.
Little Children of the Philippines. Maybe you can put a link in our.
There's a link in my description. I put a link in the description.
Yeah,
Oh,
Paul put one
okay.
up already.
So
Yeah, I like the idea of that. So, okay. Thank you, guys. See ya.
okay. Thank you for joining us, Gio.
Polly, I'm going to bail out too. So
Okay.
we got little things we got to do. So Paul,
Thank you for
Mia,
joining, Paul.
You guys can discuss amongst yourselves some private
Okay.
matters, and we'll all.
I won't go much longer. We've been going for almost 2 hours. So at 15 more minutes, 18 more minutes, we've raised $1,400 so far, plus whatever people have given privately. So it's been a
Cool.
great day. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank
All
you,
right,
Paul.
good job, Paul. Nice
Thank
seeing
you.
you, Mia. You're a Tom
Nice
Tom.
seeing you too.
I
Yeah.
recognize the air conditioner behind you. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, and everybody have a blessed day.
Okay. So guys, we're gonna kind of try to finish up here. We'll go for 18 more minutes. We'll go to 8 o'clock Central, which is 17 more minutes. Let's see. Mr. Ron says one of Nay's cousins was killed in Bohol by the typhoon. Wow. Sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, there's like 500 people dead. So that's
Hey.
it started looking like the Brady Bunch. Yeah, what's up? You gotta go too?
Do you want me to go? I can go out.
No, you don't have to go. It's up to you. If you want to go, you can go. That's I was in Colombia for 35 years ago and went inside a mountain in the Andes, and there was an enormous generator powered by an interior water supply built by the British in the 1950s. Yeah, that's when the British were at their height of power, I guess. Oh, in 1930s, 1920s, I guess.
Anyways, I need to do something actually.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Okay?
Okay.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, I'm going to finish up. Everybody's left. So anyway, just say thank you so much for all the contributions, and thank you so much for caring. And even though we had a live cast today, and you know, to raise money, and we were, I would say, very successful, I would ask you to, you know, consider giving more in the future. We don't really have to have a live cast for people to give, so it was just a way to initiate that. And in the Philippines, you know, people need the help. They really need the help. And anybody who's lived in the Philippines, as I said, knows how bad the infrastructure is and how much probably help they need right now. Great churches giving directly to people here. Yep, that's true. So that's kind of what I was saying. If people know of any church or know people that know people, you know, go that route, because the money gets to the people much, much faster. Someone's asking, when will Ricky go back to the Philippines? I think as soon as it opens up, to be honest. I think he misses the Philippines and his girlfriend. So yeah. Responsible population planning is the best way to reduce human suffering. So sad to see so many without basic needs being met. Yeah, that's true. But I don't think this is the time to have that discussion. You know what I mean? Right now, it's just the time to help. I've watched way too many videos of the destruction of Otete. So sad. Come on, guys. Give even a little. Donate the equivalent of a week's worth of Starbucks to people who have almost nothing yet now. Thank you for that, Jack. And people have donated, like I said, up to $1,400. And I'm sure people are donating privately to things besides the Philippines Red Cross. YouTube wouldn't let me, it would only let me put one. So I couldn't put up like Philippines Red Cross and this and that, so people could choose. I could only put one. So I chose the Philippines Red Cross. So I think they're the same. I mean, they're donated to each other. Anyway, I'll send them an email afterwards and tell them, hey, this is the, that's the one to donate to. Did I? Oh, golly. But anyway, they'll, no matter, you're still helping. Let me just check something real quick. I'll do that after the live cast. I've donated for years to Save the Children Philippines. They provide water, medical supplies, school supplies to Filipino children in remote villages. That's awesome. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happens after that. Anyway, guys, I am gonna finish up. There's let's see. Okay, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna finish up, and thank you for everybody that donated, and thank you for everybody that joined. And hopefully, you guys, there are links below in the description, and donate as much as you can. If you have a local church that you know of, I'm also going to donate to Mia's church to help out there. So any amount is, appreciated. So again, thank you everybody for joining, and see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.